Hello. I was reading this book today. It is called An Illustrated History of Interior Decoration From Pompeii to Art Nouveau by Mario Praz. Is a very acclaimed Italian literary critic and art expert. Very beautiful uh, uh, very beautiful book, well designed. And it's interesting how in the introduction he's talking about narcissism, uh, telling that interior decoration is a sort of a cult of an exaltation of the ego. That is very narcissistic. And he's talking about the bad taste decoration that happened through history, and how some some owners of rooms they decorated not based in good taste, but they decorated their rooms just based on possessions, and that that tendency was was just an exaltation of the best of the worst type of pleasure, which was the pleasure of possession, and that showing the possessions that you have in your interior decoration, just possessions and bad taste or lots of clutter, and it's just very narcissistic. It's just the pleasure of possession. Well, that's what he was talking about in the introduction. And that made me fill some gaps. And obviously because he was talking about narcissism, I said, well, this is uh, this is why I felt like the narcissist was having control of me. I was uh, I was just a possession for the narcissist, and I never realized that just by being the possession for the narcissist, I was I was giving the narcissist pleasure. I guess they feel some kind of pleasure in the sense by having the certainty that they have us. Like they have the pleasure of saying, okay, now he's hooked, now she's hooked, now they're mine. And Mario Bros even says that that's very childish. The pleasure of possession in your room decor is just a childish satisfaction of something, just to tell yourself, that's mine. And that's a very childish thing, when children, I even used to play with children. I used to get the children's toys and say, this is mine. And the children will say, no, this is mine. And then how childish the manifestation of the narcissist's uh, retarded mental state. Uh, the childish, the pleasure of saying he's mine, she's mine. And there is a Brazilian band called Legião Urbana, which means urban legion, He was very famous here in Brazil in the 80s and 90s. He played some kind of punk rock. Uh, and the vocalist was considered a poet. And he wrote a song that talks about, indirectly talks about narcissism. And he says, "Take your hands off of me, I don't belong to you. It is not by dominating me that you're going to understand me." And it talks about this possession, this possessiveness. And it talks more about stuff that you can say, well, perhaps he had a relationship with an narc. But I never understood that by making us get hooked, the narcissist felt his... It is very plausible to think that narcissists, one of their pleasures is just by when they know that they have us. Now, okay, now he's mine. He's under my mental influence. He or she is under my psychological mind control, emotional control. He or she is under my emotional influence and control, and she and he will do anything I say or tell him or her to do or to think or to feel. And that's why also I think in the end my narc 2 invalidated me, because anything I would say to defend myself was discounted, and she knew that I was under a trap, and that anything I said I used to say it because I was programmed by her to say it. So it is very easy to get bored when you know everything. When you know what is going to happen, what your partner is going to say, what your partner is going to think. That, I think that's called determinism in philosophy and science. Okay, everything is predetermined to happen. So scientists, when the age of enlightenment came, the scientists figured out they could predict everything that was going to happen. They tried to apply that to human existence and human affairs, and say, well, everything's going predetermined. We know how the people are going to behave, and the world is very predictable. And the world, when you predict everything, the world becomes very boring, because you already know you have control. Okay, science gave, in the mind of these thinkers, science gives us control and knowledge. So there's nothing unexpected, there's no chance, and okay, well, we know everything, so life is boring. There's nothing here that we can be surprehended, we can be surprised by, and we are okay, because everything is controlled. And controlling people, that's what they're doing. They are boring themselves by treating us like possessions, and they are boring us too, because of course they make us victimized, and that's abuse. Control is abuse. But they don't realize that they bore themselves, and then they blame us. And it is also, you see, the paradox, the conflicting thing about the narcissist is that he's out of control, he's irrational, and because of the hurt, I think, and like I said before, but he's trying to exert control and rationality in something that in the end is going to end up boring him. So you see the solution that the narcissist tries to find by controlling people and everything around them because they are hurt, uh, and it ends up boring them, and then they discard us. One of the reasons why they discard us, they get bored. Uh, in in uh, in fiction writing, and I guess in cinema script writing, the extras that are in the scene when you watch the movies and stuff, they are very important, but they are considered by some teachers of fiction writing, they are considered just like the rest of the set. They are considered part of the setting, like a table or a chair or decoration on the wall. And they are very important, that they have to act, they have to display good acting to be convincing. But because they are on the background, they are considering some form of mobilia or furniture. And okay, I made the bridge, as you might have realized, and we are nothing but furniture in the narcissist's house of terrors. And we are objects, of course. We read this every time because we are used. When the narcissist says he is mine, she is mine, he's treating us like a piece of furniture, like a possession. And he takes pleasure because, okay, I had 10 people in the past. I can have them if I want to because I can re-idealize and recycle my supply. And I can control people. I have the power of mind control. And here's one more. She's mine. He's mine. He's hooked. I programmed her to take abuse. I programmed him to take abuse. And I guess narcissists have pleasure in looking back and realizing that the amount of people they left behind and just to have the pleasure that they were mine. They are mine. I can get them back if I want to. And the beauty of no contact is that we destroy this pleasure when we go no contact. Because when the narc tries to establish no contact again, or try to end your relationship in friendly terms, he's still having the pleasure at your on your at your expense. He's having the pleasure of leaving the door open and say, well, he's mine, she's mine, I can get her whenever I want to. I'm just bored by now. And that's a pleasure of having possessions. Narcissists, they think they are ethereal, they think they are noble. My narc too was like that, at least. They think they are spiritualized, but they are very capitalistic, very materialistic people in this mindset of treating others like possessions, like material possessions. They are very earthly. They are very animal-like. They are like demons. They are attached to earthly things and earthly pleasures. And no contact takes this pleasure of the narcissist. He says, "Well, he's not mine anymore. She's not mine anymore." That I don't like that. I like possessions. I don't like to lose my possessions. I don't like to lose my furniture in my house of terrors. Thank you for your time.